Does your backswing look like this? Swaying, not much extension with your arms, quite cramped at the top, causing slices, frustrating drives, some that can go straight and then some that just slice off that are infuriating. This is way more common than most of you think. I've got just two simple drills you can do on the course, off the course, that can change the way you make your backswing, which will change the way you hit your driver and get rid of those slices and weak shots, meaning you'll hit it longer and straighter. So the first drill I want you to do is I want you to try and get your lead shoulder turning over trail foot. So without the club to start, what you're going to do, you can make a fake address position with your hands, or don't even use your hands, you just cross them across your shoulders if you want. And what I'm going to try and do is turn my lead shoulder so down until it's covering trail foot. So it's a real big stretch with my shoulders, much more rotation and tilts, because if I'm turning but flat, which is common for people who want to slice, this is kind of almost covering the ball. If I'm just tilting, it's kind of covering lead foot. So it's this combination of good amount of tilt, which lots of you struggle with big rotations. And covering this foot is allowing you to really get this feeling of this coil on the way back, which is obviously what we're lacking when it comes to these kind of sway positions. So really feeling like you're getting that shoulder across and over that trail foot as the trail foot really hangs on for dear life is a great way of breaking this kind of set with the backswing and turning it much more into kind of arms a little bit further behind you, club further behind you, body further behind the ball, ready to try and attack from this better angle. Because remember, your slice shots are coming from your downswing, moving the path way to out to in as you hit the ball with the face open to the path generally, which is causing those horrible slices. Another way of doing it, you could just put the club across your chest here. I've got the head of the club way out this side of me, grip over my chest. What I'm going to do is you're still going to cover that trail foot, but think about where the head of the club is going. Lots of you will be out there who will be swinging a bit this way. So the club just kind of goes up in the air, doesn't really go behind you. Or you'll be swinging with your sways this way, quite flat. So again, it just goes way behind me, but not up in the air very much. So we want that combination. We want it going up behind you and up in the air. So the header now is behind me, but it's also up in the air. This coil will change the pattern, the order of your backswing. The more you give your backswing the chance to assist your downswing and then in turn your impact, the more you can just let rip on the way down. You can just let go. You don't have to manage. You don't have to then have other swing thoughts. So for most students, if you can give them a backswing thought that triggers better impacts, better connections, more consistent shots that hit fairway, as a coach, you're just going to do that as much as possible. So again, if you're a swayer, hips kick out, shoulders tilt, hips kick out, shoulders are flat. You want the combination of those moves, so rather than the hips kicking out, this is almost coming to trail hip, trail foot, getting that club to go up and behind you. And again, you can see the very different order of my backswing. To kind of these options, or often this sound happens, and then whoa, you really get some Zorros happening on the way down. So let's give that a go with a shot. It will feel quite hard with a shot. It'll feel quite uncoordinated. Don't worry if you don't hit good shots. It's something you're going to need to practice, but it will feel very different. And what I'm not expecting is to see much curvature off to the right. Get that move in. So I've hit a pretty decent shot. See it just slightly leaking. That was me hitting it slightly on the heel side of the club. Oh, is it going to stay out of that bunker? Oh, this is a tough driver now. So with curvature reduced, not quite enough, we want to almost turn it into a little bit more of a draw. Let's try and get our hips assisting this action as well, because obviously they're the ones that are really initiating that sway. For lots of people, if you get their shoulder turning differently this way, then the hip turn does change. Like you don't have to do anything. But like for me there, if it's still not enough, number 2 tip, just lay the club down on the ground, and what I want you to feel, just get your hands apart, almost in a clapping position, but down both thighs, so pointing down, so not this way, and I want you to feel like you're literally just pulling the trail hand up and back. So back and up, and let the trail hip go with it. If you can do your shoulder action with this as well, getting this into trail hip, this is a massive coil compared to someone who's going this way more. So kind of this action. Again, it's this way, so you're bringing this hip back and up, getting this rotation. These two actions, so your hips starting to rotate and tilt, shoulders starting to rotate and tilt, are going to get you loaded up for such straighter drives. Now again, you can get the club on your hips, so again, it's still this, all of the club out that side of me. I've got the grip kind of over the middle of me, and what I'm going to do is I don't want this club just going up, and I don't want this club just going back. I want a mixture of both. I want the head of the club feeling like it's going up and back. So this is now me coiling. You're going to struggle to do the shoulders as much because obviously lead hands on. You could take this off and get this working as well if you want. But look how the head of my club is going up and back. So many of you are just going to kick it out and tilt it. Also, lots of you, what you do is you kick out is you go quite flat with your hips. Again, this is great for encouraging those horrible slices. So we've got these two actions that we can work together. We're now thinking of hips moving this way, but we've got to get this shoulder extending over our trail foot, which is going to feel like a big journey for lots of you. And with these actions in place, I do feel like for lots of you, you're going to change the way you hit the ball. If I hit the ball, rather than nobble it off the tee. And you're going to change the way you actually coil with your backswing, which hopefully can allow the downswing to just fall into place. Let's see. Much straighter. Little bit of tail, but way, way straighter. That's a pretty straight shot for me. And happy to hit this fairway. I feel if I do that more, I'm actually going to get them to start to turn a little bit to left. I can hold halfway down the shaft to help me with this. Get the feeling of this shoulder turning more over this trail hip. As my hip goes back, I can even hold on to my trail hip and pull it back as well again to get rid of this kind of swaying action. There's your little draw, lovely. That one's like a 2-yard lovely little draw. Absolutely, it's going to change the way you turn. Changing the way you turn is going to change the way you order the downswing, which then in turn will change the way you orientate the face and hopefully get you reducing that slice. If you want to do more of these actions, this video has loads more on how to keep that driver as straight as possible.